As a productive entrepreneur, is not getting enough sleep actually killing your productivity? In fact, what if just one extra hour of sleep per day could help you to become 25% more effective during the rest of your day? Well, on today's show, the chiropractor Dr. Breck from drbreck.com, Dr. Breck Kasbaum, and the founder of Tulsa Fitness Systems join us to talk about the importance of sleep and getting enough sleep to be super effective.
Let's go!
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Thrive Time Show.
Now, 3, 2, 1, here we go!
Started from the bottom, now we here. Started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here.
Yes, and yes. Thrive Nation, on today's show, we are joined by a wonderful man who is a client, a friend, and a fitness expert by the name of Clint Howard. He's an entrepreneur and a fitness expert, and I get it. If you don't live in the Tulsa area, you probably don't know who he is. And for those of you who are not a member of Tulsa Fitness Systems, we get it. Some of you don't even live in Tulsa. It would be hard to attend the classes if you did not live in the Tulsa area. But we're assuming that you're working out, you're getting excited about this year, you're getting in shape. This is your year. And Clint Howard, let's talk about this. We got to get some sleep. If we want to get in great shape, we got to get some sleep. Is this a big problem? Do you see a lot of people not getting enough sleep? Talk to us about sleep.
Yeah, I think it's a really big problem, especially more in today's world. A lot of it just goes back to smartphones, and people are watching too much TV and on their phones too much. And if you look at the data and the statistics, because I've really researched this a lot the last few years just for my own benefit, is the National Sleep Foundation, and this is based on tons of research, recommends adults get at least 7 hours of sleep a night. If you look at like elite athletes, performers, they're getting like 8-9 hours of sleep a night, sometimes more. I mean, obviously it goes back to lifestyle, and we're all business owners here, so you can't sleep too much. But in today's world, I think a lot of people aren't sleeping enough, or they're just not getting good quality sleep, which I know we're going to talk about.
What I want to talk about, and I want to just we're going down the highway, we're going down the interstate. We've agreed we're going to go to Des Moines on a road trip, okay? We're on the highway, we're going to Des Moines. Steve, have you been to Des Moines? Des Moines.
Oh, it's beautiful up there.
It's a beautiful place. Des Moines is awesome. Have you been up there, Breck?
I haven't.
It's beautiful this time of the year.
I've been in that part of the country, but I haven't been to Des Moines.
Cold, virtually nothing to look at. It's awesome.
I actually lied. I've never been there.
Really, you haven't?
No.
You're going to run into it en route to Minneapolis if you go there from here. If you go,
another place you don't need to go.
So if you're going up to Minneapolis this time of the year, as I once often did, what you're going to find is sometimes there is traffic in the way, and you've got to hit the old detour. And I want to hit the detour for a second here, because this is something that a lot of people need to get in their minds. They need to get this resolved. Yeah, you're saying we're all saying we're busy, we don't have time to sleep, but where's our time going? So I just want to attack 2 areas, and I'll tell you, and I want to get your take on this, Clint. One is the average person, according to Nielsen right now, is spending 11.3 hours per day on their smartphone. 11.3 hours per day consuming media on their smartphone. Would you recommend that the people who are wanting to get in great shape would spend more time on their smartphone or less time on their smartphone?
I would say less, because one of the biggest things that I hear from people, like excuse, which we say is like the dog ate my homework, is I don't have time. Besides money, which you can argue, what's where you want to invest your money. But people say, I'm too busy. And you just nailed it. You make time for what's important, what's a priority. And so a lot of people, sadly, are addicted to watching television or on their phones, as opposed to exercising, working out, being productive, being successful at their business, or getting enough sleep.
So, again, there's the articles called Time Flies. U.S. adults now spend nearly half a day interacting with media. This comes to us from the good folks at Nielsen. Now, another stat that I find to be shocking but true, every time I hear it, I'm going, what? The average person now spends 5.2 hours per day watching TV. Talk about that. I mean, do you spend a lot of your time watching TV? Is that the key to fitness?
So I quit watching TV for the most part 20 years ago when I was in college. I will occasionally watch a college football game. I probably average 5 hours a month.
5 hours a day?
A month.
A day?
You watch 5 hours a day?
A month.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, I'm just.
So
I
just
wanna
so
make
you know,
sure we're getting-
Cheers is off the air and Friends is over, and
So I'm not again, and I say that because people that know me and follow me know that I'm kind of an anti-TV. One of my mentors told me, rich people have big libraries and poor people have big TVs.
I've heard this.
snap.
So that's something that kind of hit me when I first got into business. And the kind of the metaphor is that most people are wasting time, like we're talking about. And again, I'm not opposed to someone. Like today's the Super Bowl as we're recording this. Certainly, and I'm actually not going to watch the Super Bowl. I'm going to be with my kids at a cheer competition. But it's not
Lucky dog.
It's not that you can't watch TV, but that should be a kind of a reward if you worked hard all day and got everything else done, and you occasionally watch an hour or two of TV. I watch TV with my kids is when I probably get my 5 hours in. But people are wasting time. That's what it comes down to.
What if you have a big library and a big TV like Clay?
then you're super rich.
That's the ultra rich.
Look at you.
I want to talk about this though for a second though. So if you're out there today, and you're saying I have a hard time, I'm having a hard time finding time to sleep. I think we just need to do an audit of where we spent our time yesterday.
Yeah.
And
sure,
I think for a
absolutely.
lot of us, it's I like to sleep 6 hours a night. I like to go to bed usually at 9 and wake up at 3. That's my thing. And if I wanted to sleep 7, you got to say, what am I going to stop doing? What else can I get rid of or whatever? Yeah. And I'm just saying, I think it's important that everybody, the average person now, these stats mean that there's somebody watching more TV than this.
Which is
And somebody
hard to
watching
even fathom.
less. But if you're on your smartphone 11.3 hours a day.
Right, and then the TV for 5 point.
That's 16 to 17 hours a day.
I don't know.
That's crazy.
They're
Don't you
doing
have-
these things simultaneous. They have to be.
They have to be.
Don't you have more opportunity to get smart if you're doing that?
On your smartphone? That's a good point.
You're on
Well,
That's
like
a good
when you
point,
see
Steve.
people out at a restaurant, a couple at a table,
Oh, yeah.
and then they're just looking at their phones. They're not even interacting with
That's
each other.
every
It's just
that's every
so sad.
table,
It's
which is
sad.
why I don't spend time with family.
Wait a minute. You just said what?
No, everybody's on their phone anyway, so you might as well just go in your separate rooms and just be on your phone there.
Yeah.
Don't go to dinner so that you can look on your phone.
Yeah.
Come on.
I
That's
agree.
why I'm a huge fan of let's not hang out.
Steve Currington is a very efficient, productive mortgage guy. Dr. Breck, you're obviously a chiropractor who's had a lot of success. Clint, you've had a lot of success. And I've discovered this as a little tip for the listeners out there. I've discovered that the people who are the most successful are the least active on social media. That's what I found. The people who are the most physically active are the least active on social media. Would you agree with this, Mr. Howard?
I would agree with that for sure. I'm on social media some and not justifying because we're
it's a marketing
we're
thing.
marketing and
Yeah,
networking.
but
but
you're
again, I've delegated most of that now to my an
But you're not up there for 5 hours a day commenting on.
No, it's easy. It's a black hole you can get sucked into. Like you go on you start scrolling through Facebook. You're like, I'm going to look for 5 minutes, and the next thing you know, 20 minutes later, you're scrolling through and just looking at news feeds and things like that. It's just it's honestly it's just useless, wasteless information. I think it's the fear of loss, the fear of missing out. People think they're missing out on something on social media, and obviously they're not. They need to be hanging out with their family or working.
I've heard that you back in the day once struggled with sleep deprivation. What were you doing? Were you staying up all night playing video games?
No, you
What were
worked out all night. And
No.
so
Oh yeah, just popping it up. I cannot stop.
just trying to get more of that cortisol.
Yeah, no, I think, when I first got it, well, actually, what's crazy is for me personally going back into college, so I was in college for 8 years. I have a master's degree, so I did a lot
8 years.
8 years. That is with multiple degrees, not just an undergrad. So,
Oh man,
That's very similar to my 8 hours that I spent in
8
college.
years in college.
8 years.
No
But
way.
I worked 70 hours a week all through graduate school, though, and went to graduate school.
That just blew my.
So-
I just for a second, I have to just marinate on that because there's. Seriously, there's a lot of fitness experts out there, so-called experts that read a book, started pumping. They were like half the book. Started pumping some steroids,
Yeah.
and now they're over at your local gym picking up clients. But you, what all did you study? This is 8 years.
Yeah. So I changed so I was a business major at one point because I
Yeah.
loved business and I knew I wanted to own my own business someday. But once I got into my exercise science, my undergrad is health and exercise science. Then I have a master's degree is exercise physiology. And so once I got into exercise science and I started actually training at a health club, training people, that's when I really fell in love and found my passion for health, fitness, working out, and nutrition, everything related to the human body and helping people.
Wow.
So then I went on to college to graduate school, which took me about 3.5 years. You have to do a big dissertation, like a thesis defense, and a lot of research, laboratory stuff. And I was working 60, 70 hours a week through school.
So when did you find your sleep?
So that's when it
routine
started, and part of it was. So, like, people would do these study groups if we all went to college or even in high school, where you just really hang out at night. You just kind of shoot the breeze, and no one's really studying at all.
Oh, yeah, eating chips.
Eating
Twizzlers.
eating pizza and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And so that just didn't work for me. Like, I actually wanted to learn the material, and I was kind of a geek. I wanted to actually study and get stuff done, and didn't want to hang out and drink beer all night and eat pizza. And so what I would do is I would not do these study groups or get-togethers. I would go to bed. I would get up at like 2 in the morning or 3 in the morning.
That's what I did, dude.
And I would study because there's nothing else going on at that
You're
time of day.
40 right now. Are you 40?
40, yes.
I'm almost 40. I think at the exact same time, and seriously, think about this. I think at the exact same time, Breck, how old are you?
I'm 40.
I think
We're all 4.
Are you 40?
Yeah.
What the smell?
Well, I'm about to be 41, but I must be your elder.
This is crazy.
Show some respect.
Because when this is crazy, but when I went to Oral Roberts University in 1999, I would wake up every morning at 2 or 3 in the morning for the exact same reason.
Nothing else going on, right?
I would go to bed like at 8 or 9 because I couldn't stand anybody I went to college with, and I didn't want to do anything with them. I never wanted to do a study group. I didn't want to do intramurals. I just wanted to study, and I discovered my first week of my first year at ORU that the one thing you don't do at college is study.
Or learn.
Pretty much.
Seriously, I discovered the study groups were groups where you don't study.
That's the last
Very
thing you
few
do.
study groups I ever participated in were actually productive.
So when I set my alarm for
And
2
none
in the
in
morning,
undergrad.
you were setting your alarm for 2 in the
I
morning.
was, exactly.
That is amazing.
That's
At the
crazy.
same time and place and space, we were doing the same thing, and now I know your face.
I know.
Hey, I
right?
ran the study group in college for the 8 hours that I was there,
was
and all
you.
we did was drink. It was awesome.
Was studying the labels of the beer bottles you're drinking.
We studied the women. Hello.
Unbelievable. If anybody out there is hearing these words, kindly rebuke what Steve Carrington is telling you. But okay, so how did you get out of the doom loop of sleep deprivation?
So even at that point, I was probably not getting enough sleep, and then of course we know in my industry we start early. So then when I was my last year of undergrad, I did an internship at a health club, and they hired me. So I started training. So I started training clients at 5 a.m. in the morning, and then I would train all morning. I'd go to class. I'd come back. I'd train at night. So just honestly, it's just you get in this kind of whirlwind of working, trying to build a business and trying to save money.
Yep.
And I'm a workaholic, so I started working all the time. And again, I think I just tricked myself to thinking I didn't need a lot of sleep. You know, it's like sleep's for lazy people. And again, it's one of those things. At that point in time, I don't think I was following Gary Vee and Grant Cardone, but it was still that same mindset of, no sleep, hustle, grind mentality. And I got sucked into that. And sure, you have to sacrifice, and, I'm blessed at things that I accomplished by not getting enough sleep. But you get into just a, kind of a mindset of that's all I'm going to do.
How much sleep do you need now?
I mean, again, it's recommended.
Are you getting? How many sleep?
So it's a lot better the last few years as I've kind of delve into this a lot deeper. I try to get at least 6 hours.
6 hours?
I'll get 7. It depends. I go in early a few days a week. I have some early sessions I train, or I have to be there before 4:30 in the morning.
Okay.
So I try to get 7. There's a couple of days I get about 5.5, 6, and then on weekends I'll try to get a little bit more.
Now,
I'm still not getting enough, but I have seen the benefits. Is what I'll say is like.
Well, you're looking like you're 27.
Well, thank you.
True.
Mine, what I really realized, mine came to a point, it wasn't so much that I was like tired, or I started getting a lot of, the main sign that I saw was my memory, my cognitive function, my thinking.
Okay.
I started trying to memorize certain things. And this is just, several years ago, like I had to memorize some, like a speech or something like that. So I could not remember things. It's like I would have to study something for several hours that years before I could have memorized in 10 minutes.
I think it also got weird when you started referring to the hologram named Yoda. None of us could see.
Yeah.
When you started seeing those hallucinations,
Oh,
that's
yeah,
when I knew you needed 2 more hours
That's
of
also
sleep.
why Clay sometimes forgets his own name.
A lot of times I'm
It's
like,
because of sleep
he
deprivation.
doesn't
yeah,
sleep.
absolutely. Brent.
Well, and your brain actually cleans itself while you're sleeping.
Yeah.
And so your liver and your brain, your body has to cleanse itself of, the different toxins
It's like
throughout
a
the day.
self-cleaning oven.
But the times that
awesome.
you actually clean are when you're sleeping for your brain and your liver.
Yeah.
That's when those things happen. So, people who are intermittent fasting, it's really good to do that while you sleep. and then allow that to continue on so that you can actually benefit from the processes that are happening. But it really only happens while you sleep. So, having a perpetual cycle of sleep deprivation ends up with more and more brain fog.
Yeah.
Brain fog.
For sure.
So actually the lack of sleep is causing you to be less effective during the hours you're awake.
Correct.
So really the time that you think that you're gaining by sleeping less, it's actually keeping you from performing at your best, and therefore it's you're in that fog.
Yeah, and I found for myself, if I didn't get at least 6 hours of sleep consistently, then I really see my own functionality decline rather quickly.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you start to get to the mumbles thing, where you just everybody in our today's meeting we're gonna. What was that again? And you start to see people like that. They don't sleep enough. And they say, and then what we're going to do next, we have a 3-step plan. Step 1, we're going to do this. Step 2, we're going to, what was that again? I mean, it just you see it. I mean, it's obvious. It's very obvious. So now we're going to talk about, we have some notable quotables here. Benjamin Franklin, who could not be here today because he is...
Sleep deprived.
What was that? Sorry, I haven't slept very much. Benjamin Franklin says, early to bed and early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise.
Yeah, so, I love this one because the first thing he says is early to bed. And
Early to bed.
Which I know you follow. So people say, okay, I need to get up early, but then they stay up till midnight like we've been talking about. They're on their phones or they're watching television. So, again, it's getting to bed early. I think most of the time when people are up past 9 or 10 o'clock, they're probably wasting time. They're probably not doing things productive. And so that's a big one. And, again, that's this. I use this quote a lot because it talks about being wealthy, as we're discussing here, cognitive function, brain function, being more successful, having more energy. All those things go into getting enough sleep in your body, having power, having confidence, having energy. If you don't have those, then how are you going to be successful with your business?
Now, Tom Brady, who could not be here, but eventually, if I ask him enough, eventually I think I can book him on the show. But Tom Brady says, proper sleep has helped me to get to where I am today as an athlete. I continue to rely on it every day. Clint, give us the action steps here. We got step 1 is we got to sleep at least 7 hours per night. Is that right? Am I getting it right? 7 hours?
Yeah, exactly. That's what's recommended. I mean, that's hard for people to do every night, but that's a goal people should shoot for, is at least 7 hours a night.
Okay, and then step 2, reduce blue light exposure before bed. Get rid of the screens before bed. Stop watching TV and get off your phone 1 to 2 hours before heading to bed. Read a book instead. I want to get Jason's take on this because Jason is a man who he was born with a smartphone surgically attached to his body. That's true. Because of his age. I mean, he is a young whippersnapper. Jason, how old are you?
I will be 27 at the end of this month.
Okay, so I'm sure you have questions about the blue light, the phone.
Yeah.
What questions would you have for Clint here about using the phone, the smartphone, keeping the phone by the bed, keeping the phone away from the bed? What questions would you have about that?
So I stopped using social media like 5 years ago because I was suffering the same problem. Before I started working for Clay, I would go to bed at like 1, 2, then have to get up at 5 to go to my job and be a zombie in front of a spreadsheet thinking, God, this sucks. And so I stopped doing that, started getting better. But one of the things I do now is like I will have my phone. I don't keep it by my bed. It's on the other side of the room. Should I look to move it completely outside of the room? Or because I also limit my screen time. So if I am watching anything with my wife, I cut that off by like 8:30. That way I can kind of like power down. But when I go to sleep, she turns the TV back on. So with that being on while I'm asleep, is that affecting my sleep at all? Because some nights, some mornings I'll wake up and I'm like, I feel great. Then other mornings I'll wake up and think, I went to bed at the right time, but I feel like I got 2 hours of sleep.
You got to get rid of her.
Yeah.
It's terrible. Bad influence.
But this,
You got to get those people out of your life, Jason.
I'm not.
Thank you, Steve.
This is a thing. This is a divisive thing. This is tough because I too am married to a woman who's a night owl.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife loves to do accounting. And like right now we're building a building and she likes to look at the plans at like 10 o'clock through like midnight. And so I go to bed way before my wife does on most nights. And we had to have that conversation probably, 15 years ago. If I'm going to bed, you stay up and I'm out because I'm just not going to stay up late. Yeah. And there's somebody out there listening who's trying to get in the best shape of their life, but maybe their spouse isn't down with this new sleep schedule. What advice would you have for somebody who's, married to somebody who likes to keep the phone on while they're in bed? And should they? What should they do?
Certainly, and obviously, in an ideal situation, you'd both be on the same schedules. But the thing with the blue light, if you're looking, like if your eyes, your vision, you're looking at the screen, that's when it affects your melatonin in your brain. So your brain sees that light, so it tricks it into thinking it's like daylight or it's morning.
Oh.
That's what really keeps you awake. So if your spouse is over there and they're on their phone, that's not going to affect you as far as you're not getting the blue light exposure because you're not actually looking at it if your eyes are closed. So it wouldn't be that. It would just be more of if they're moving around and restless or things like that and you're in the bed with them, maybe you're not sleeping as well. But again, it's just the whole thing with the light is you looking at the screens. That's what you want not to do. I think it's recommended like 2 hours before you go to bed. You should shut off. And Dr. Breck probably has researched this too, just so your brain starts to shut down and realize and recognize that it's nighttime, it's bedtime.
Yeah, and that's true. And one of the things that my wife and I have discussed and believed for years is not having a TV in the bedroom allows you to do other activities in the bedroom.
Oh.
And so, you're less distracted and less late night with Jimmy Fallon and more late night with wife.
Steve likes that.
Wait, wow.
Whoa. What do you think about the firefighter schedule where you just work for, like 48 hours straight? What's the opposite? It's like a 24 hour
on and 48 off.
Yeah, so you just work for 24 and don't sleep.
You dress up like a
And then-
firefighter?
No. And then in the bedroom. And then sleep for 48. So you get 2 days of sleep every third day. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, firefighters and military, they're known for having sleep deprivation, so that's a tough schedule. But no, you can't really catch up by sleeping more. All the research shows if you miss a night of sleep, the next day if you sleep for like 20 hours, you're not really going to make up for what you lost.
There's no real storage tank for your sleep.
No, exactly.
Steve also has a question about the sailor schedule. When you dress up like a sailor.
We're going to go through all the village people.
That's so good. Okay.
Construction
the next
workers,
tip is
they,
you want to avoid caffeine in the evenings.
Yeah,
Why?
This is real common, but we know caffeine is a stimulant. We talked earlier about drinking caffeine to get energized. So obviously, the last thing you want to do is be drinking caffeine at nighttime. So, and even eating right before bedtime as well can be a stimulant as your body's digesting and breaking down food. So you want to try not to have caffeine or a big meal right before you go to bed.
So, Clint, what time do you recommend your clients stop their caffeine? Because, we do live in this Starbucks world and society, culture, where people are going through Starbucks at any hour of the day.
I like to stop my caffeine intake at 9 p.m. Every night.
Right.
Just 9. Just boom.
I mean, all the research shows like 4 to 5 p.m. If you're going to bed like at 9 or 10, again, it varies. I mean, people that drink a lot of caffeine, they've obviously built up a tolerance, so it's not going to affect them as much. But everything that I've read, because I do research that a lot because we get asked a lot, is usually 4 to 5 p.m. You should not have caffeine after that, just as a general guideline.
Yeah. Now, I don't know if this is I can't prove this to be true or not, but you when you work with your clients, you do one-on-one. When they first sign up, do you sit down with them and assess their goals? Do you do that?
We do. That's the first thing that we do.
And then when you sit down with them, do you ever have to tell them, like, get off the Red Bull, man?
Yeah, we do. I mean, most of the clients that come in, they're really like not drinking a lot of Red Bulls unless you're kids. I do train a lot of high school kids, high school athletes.
Yep.
They're the ones that are drinking all the energy drinks. And then adults are just eating like crap. Maybe drinking too much coffee, the Starbucks.
I don't know if this is the right audio clip here, but this is you, I believe, sitting down with one of your newer clients, talking to him about Red Bull, and you said, "Hey, are you drinking too much Red Bull?" And this is what he said to you. Let me just cue it up real quick here. Make sure. Could be the wrong clip. Let me see. Could be the wrong clip. It's always. Here we go. Trying to find it. Here we go.
We hit a couple of raves last night. It was totally off the hook.
Yeah, you seem a little hyper.
I had a couple Red Bulls. You ever had a Red Bull? I never had a Red Bull before, but I had a Red Bull last night. I really like Red Bull. I got a new necklace. Glows in the dark. But you can't really see it right now unless you do this.
That's really something.
Have you ever had to tell people to get off the Red Bull, man?
I have. Most of my high school kids.
Okay. All right. Now, final tip here before we wrap up today's show is you want to go to bed and wake up around the same time every day. Why?
Yeah, so it's circadian rhythm and set point. Your body.
So what
circadian rhythm. So your body gets into a routine, and so if you train it, it will get accustomed to that. As far as your energy levels, your sleep patterns, just like we were just saying, if your spouse is keeping you up at night, it's good to get on your same schedule. So it's hard to get up the same time on the weekends as you do during the week, but you want to keep it as close to possible just so your body will adapt to that. It'll just get used to it.
What do you think about late night workouts?
I mean, I don't
Know I'm saying?
I don't really recommend this what kind of workout.
I know this
I'm saying?
This is an audio only show, but I want to
version of cardio.
I want to explain. I want to explain
With your
something for the
spouse.
listeners. This is an audio only show, okay? And Steve showed up today. He comes in. He sets down his wallet and his keys, and we notice he has a big old. He's wearing like the whole Navy outfit, and it's like tight and it's form fitting, and we're going, what is going on? And he said, guys, we recorded today's show at 6 a.m, and he said, guys, I didn't go to bed last night. I'm starting an all-nighter, and we're like, well, now it all makes sense.
Yeah, because I worked out last night before everyone else went to
Slamming
bed.
Red Bulls and working out.
Yeah,
You and your sailor buddies.
I'm a little scared of the Navy because I heard that on the subs you got 100 sailors go down, but they're down there for a while and only 50 couples come up. So, you got to be careful, fellas.
Okay, all right. Wow.
Well, and the body definitely does respond to consistency. And as a former night owl myself, I had to kind of change my body to become a morning person. And so, it's not natural for me to wake up at 4:30 in the morning. But over time, you can actually, work your body into a pattern and schedule that this works for.
Yeah, you'll adapt.
Clint, if I'm out there and I'm thinking about signing up for Tulsa Fitness Systems, what's your website? How can I get signed up if I live in the Tulsa area?
Yeah, we have a lot of information on our website, which is simply tulsafitnesssystems.com. Tells all about our programs, about us, our clients, testimonials, success stories. And, yeah, we have a really good special going. It's 21 days for $49. And so it gives people an opportunity to come in and meet with us, talk about their goals, and then get started and see if we can help them.
All right. Well, we like to end each and every show with the boom if we can. Are you prepared, Clint, to bring the boom?
I am ready.
Steve, have you distanced yourself from the microphone enough to bring the boom without making it pop? Okay, Dr. Breck, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1, boom!
Attend the world's best business workshop led by America's #1 business coach for free by subscribing on iTunes and leaving us an objective review. Claim your tickets by emailing us proof that you did it and your contact information to info@thrivetimeshow.com.